Hello, it's Melojane, and welcome to my first look at World of Warships. So I've been playing this game for quite a bit in recent days, and here's my first impressions video. So first of all, it works in a reasonably similar way to World of Tanks. So there is tech trees, there is unlocks, there is grinding, as in any free-to-play game you would expect. There's 4 classes of ships. No, there's 3 classes of ships. No, there is 4 classes of ships. They're just not in one nation. There's 3 nations for now. They will add more, of course. Americans and Japanese are actually fleshed out. Russians only get 1 premium ship. And if I call ships tanks in this video, excuse me, but playing 40k games in World of Tanks kind of made their mark in my brain. So 4 classes of ships, aircraft carriers, which is pretty much a completely different game. That's pretty much playing this is like playing an RTS with real people, which they need some balancing changes in my opinion. They don't require devastating blows with these ships don't require as much skill as in any of the other classes, but their complexity is that they are controlling multiple units at the same time. But I wouldn't really bother with this. It's like playing a bad RTS. The only upside to this is if you're a jackass or an asshole and you like to murder other people in real life while taking no risks at all, then this class is meant for you. Then there is cruisers. Those are kind of like medium tanks in World of Tanks. They're versatile. They have really good armaments. They're not very well. They are reasonably well armored, but they're not as well armored as the battleships. They are reasonably mobile as well, as I said, and some of them have torpedoes, some of them don't. And then you have the destroyers, the class that I have been playing the most. They're fast, they're sneaky, so they are not easy to detect, and they have a lot of torpedoes. I've been playing the Japanese ones, as you can see. I've gone up to tier 7, you're gonna see some gameplay from a tier 7 as well. I did play some cruisers, but not much. And then there's the battleships, the big, heavy, hit me with torpedo ships that have devastating firepower. These things can one-shot destroyers every time with a decent volley. They don't even need all of the shots to hit. The destroyers have almost no health. Like the difference between the health on the tier 2 ship, which has what you can't really you can't see survivability. This thing has 8,200 hit points, while the tier 8 one, tier 7 one that I'm playing currently has survivability. Where is your hit points? 12,100, so the difference is 4k. And if you want to see the hit points of a tier 7 battleship, which is the Nagato, 56,000 hit points. There is quite a difference there, and 12,000 damage to a ship with no armor will take 1 volley and it will be out. Moving on from the tech trees to the research path, there is upgrades. They're probably not fleshed out to the max yet, but there is some at least, so that is cool. You can actually, also a cool feature is that you can look at the ships that you don't have, so you can look at the tier 10s in all their glory. The destroyers don't really look all that cool. They are little boats, but if you look at the tier 10 Japanese cruiser, this thing looks badass, doesn't it? But yeah, that being said, we can look at the crews. The crews work in a different way. There's a captain. He doesn't have any base skills, but he has these kind of perks that you unlock. The tier 1 skills costs 1 research point, and you just get these points while leveling up the captain and playing with him. Retraining to a different ship is also easier. Depends on the tier of the ship, but you pretty much need to get a certain amount of experience with that new ship to retain the ability to use all these perks. While the captain is not trained, like he is not trained in this ship, he will only be using 50% of the skills, so the skill effect is going to be reduced by 50%, and there is 6th sense in this game as well. That is not gonna work when your captain is not trained, which is a better way to do this than in tanks. There is obviously all the options like in tanks, where you can pretty much pay to make your life easier. Wait, can you even now? I don't think you can even now, but whatever. Whenever you pick a new captain, like for instance, this ship needs a new captain, you can buy a complete basic captain for free. You can buy one with 1 skill point for 5,000. You can buy captain with 3 skill points for 325 gold, which is probably the same value. The gold is probably gonna be as valuable as in tanks. And the ships seem to be costing slightly more than tanks at the similar tier. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there we go. Tier 8 ship costs 3.7 million, while in tanks, tier 8 tank costs 2.4 million, if I'm not wrong. So there is daily missions in this game as well. The cooldown of those are 72 hours even. There's 3 quests that visit every, well, pretty much you get a new quest every 24 hours. Pretty much daily quests. They're more like in Hearthstone, World of Warcraft or something like that than in World of Tanks. And they're all individual as well, which is cool. And also a cool feature that this game is like, it feels really polished out. You can actually like look at everything here and it will highlight the parts that you're looking at. It's really cool, and there's a lot of stats and you can see a lot of those stats. Like it shows all the traverses, maximum damage, torpedo speed, pretty much everything. And the same goes for any of these guns. And you actually have the dispersion and all that. It's all written down. It's not like it's random, and there don't seem to be a lot of hidden stats, even though there probably are some. But it is kind of hard to tell. But it definitely looks cool and it seems pretty well fleshed out and it runs reasonably fine. There is some complaints for me about this game, but I'll talk about those later when we get to the game. But the game looks great and it runs reasonably well as well while streaming or recording. And it runs pretty damn well when you're not doing any of those things. There can be some performance drops when there's a lot of smoke on the map, but that is to be expected because smoke seems to be the hardest thing to render these days in video games. So yeah, that all being said, let's look at some destroyer gameplay. I haven't really played much else, so I really don't want to show anything other than that because I haven't had a lot of games put in other classes. So first of all, let's see how the destroyers work. So here's the game. I will try to edit out the boring bits because there can be a lot of it. World of Warships is a slow-paced game, extremely slow-paced game. The first volley of torpedoes I fired, I think, was 5 minutes into the game, if not even more. So yeah, World of Warships is an extremely slow-paced game. No matter what class of ships you play, if you play a Battleship, you'll tend to start your engagements way quicker than that just because they can shoot pretty much all over the map. While little destroyers like this one is a sneaky little ninja that tries to sneak up on his prey and launch a deadly torpedo strike and then fuck off. Which is a kind of gameplay I enjoy the most so far. Destroyers up till tier 5 are a bit overpowered, I would say, but after tier 5 they get slightly underpowered, in my opinion, but hey, I haven't played the game enough to tell. But till tier 5 destroyers are insanely good. The torpedo reload is too quick. Well, too quick. The torpedo reload is fast, and this is not really a high tier game. The problem with this game is that they have 2 aircraft carriers and we have none, and that usually means that our battleships are gonna have a really bad time. But hey, I ain't a battleship, so I don't really care. Put it in World of Tanks scale, destroyers probably are like light tanks with the capability of FV215B183. Sneak out. If you can sneak up to your enemy and launch a torpedo strike that he will not be aware of, you'll probably kill him. But if he spots you at any time within like 6 to 10 kilometer range, you are really prone to dying. You have a consumable called smoke screen, which will conceal your position for around a minute, and then you better be farther away than his detection range. Game has a pretty decent spotting system. So first of all, the ships, all ships pretty much have the same view range, but the ships have different detection ranges. So the varies from ship to ship basis. You're gonna get spotted X kilometers away from certain type of enemy. So as far as I'm aware, plane spotting range is around 5 kilometers. I'm not sure if the ship type actually matters. It probably does, but when you play destroyers, I know that planes will spot you at 5 kilometers. So this game, my crew was not, my captain was not trained properly, so my sixth sense wasn't working. And here I launched my smoke screen just because I am not sure if those planes can see me. Also, I disabled my AA guns so I don't reveal my position like that. And the RTS player seems to have not noticed my smoke or me at all. You really don't want to have these things behind you when you play anything, really. So they probably didn't notice, otherwise they would have turned around already. Maybe dropping smoke there was a mistake, but from other hand, if I gotten spotted, that would have been worse. So yeah, we cut 1 minute forwards, the planes have gone, and there is a ship behind that mountain. It is quite far away, so I don't really want to launch my torpedo strike just yet. It is a battleship, it is slow, it is... And as far as I'm aware, nobody knows that I'm here, so they shouldn't be trying to dodge me. And this is how torpedo mechanism works in this game. So the game gives you an indicator where the ship is going to be if it doesn't move for the set amount of times your torpedoes will take to reach him. And at this point, the gray line is exactly that. Destroyers most of the time have torpedoes on turrets, so they can shoot them to both sides equally well. My ship has two turrets with 3 tubes each, so 6 torpedoes on this little bugger. So here's the shot I need to take. He's 8 kilometers away, which is not half bad. I launched 2 torpedoes, both turrets at him. It was a bit too close to each other, both of the launches, but it should not matter that much. And now I'm pretty much fucking off. I know that he will spot me around 6 kilometers away, so I had a bit of spare time there. And this shot tracking cam is cool. You can do this with torpedoes or with your regular guns, which is really awesome. Not very realistic, but hey, who gives a shit about that? The spotting system they use in this game is pretty much the same as in Wall of Tanks. As long as nobody can see the tank. As long as nobody can see the ship disappears like you saw there. I noticed that there's a destroyer to my left, but I really want to see if these torpedoes hit or not, so I just adjust my course, my direction of movement slightly and keep tracking my torpedoes. It looks like they have missed, but no, they have not. There we go. 4 torpedo strikes, usually it's a massive amount of damage. It probably is around 40,000 damage, if not even more. Really nice hits there. The ship had no idea that I was there and he got wrecked. So here's the first aircraft carrier. They're playing RTS, they have no time. If I haven't been spotted on the map, there's no way he's gonna move. But still, I want to maximize my chances of hitting him, so I'm gonna close the distance a bit. I make sure that my anti-aircraft guns are disabled, and I have to try not to fly into the way of his planes, because those can probably spot me better than anything else. And here we go, 8 kilometers, launch first torpedoes, launch second torpedoes. I did take a bit more time between them now, so they're a bit wider spread. So if he tries to dodge them, he will not dodge them as well, because I don't really need all 6 torpedoes to kill him. Again, he has no idea I'm here. He is pretty sure he's a tier 6 aircraft carrier, so 1 tier lower than I am, so he should be easy to kill him with these torpedoes. And as we can see, he has no clue what is happening. He's probably playing his RTS and not paying any attention. And funny thing is that those aircraft carriers were actually platooned up, and they're both kind of the same part of the map. The second one we can see on the mini-map as well now. And these torpedoes are really nice. 2 will miss, but I didn't need 6 to hit, so it's good enough. You can also change the spread of your torpedoes. That is useful if you are like trying to get an aerial effect or trying to get like a ship that will have hard time dodging all of them, because if you launch your torpedoes really close to each other, there's quite a chance that the enemies will be able to dodge them. And here you can see that the torpedo reload is like 1 minute and 25 seconds in this setup I currently have, which is balanced in a way. It's way worse than the reloads you had on lower tier destroyers, and those torpedoes weren't all that much worse. But at the same time, as long as you can hit targets like this, it's perfectly fine. But most of the time, it is not going to be as easy as this. And here we go. We have reloaded. I'm gonna close the distance a bit more. I'll fire at 8 kilometers. It's not really the best shots ever, but I can't really broadside him, because then his planes might spot me, and I really don't want that. So I'm just gonna shoot at this angle. Not the best angle ever, but it should do the job anyways, as long as he doesn't start maneuvering. I don't think that he will, because He's playing his RTS, he doesn't care, even though he's in a platoon with the other carrier, which really surprised me that he kept his course and didn't even move after his friend died, but he probably has no idea where I am. He might have guessed completely wrong and headed into the corner, but he was spotted the entire time. He doesn't have the situational awareness or sixth sense perk, most likely, so he had no idea that he is seen, and these torpedoes... The first one hit, it didn't really look like it hit. That is also one problem I have with this game. Sometimes these bullet camps, just the torpedoes go through the ships, or the ships, maybe the models are loaded a bit wrong and they don't represent the actual position of the enemy ship, but I do manage to sink him with the 4 more torpedoes, so both aircraft carriers destroyed, which is an extremely good result for a little destroyer like mine. Most of the time you play these things defensive and try to just launch torpedoes every minute at some battleship that is usually not sitting still and is actually changing its direction of movement, so you can have quite a frustrating games, but once you get games like these where you literally wreck their aircraft carriers with torpedoes like I did here, it can feel awesome. It's really satisfying, but the game is not without its faults. So 2 grinds I have with this game so far is that smoke screen is... it's kind of hard to tell how big the smoke screen is half of the time. It's hard to tell if you're actually still in the smoke screen or not, because smoke around your ship is not rendered properly, for obvious reasons, because that will just kill your FPS. But some indication on the minimap on how big the smoke screen is would be nice. The other fact is that aircraft carriers seem to be too good. They seem to be able to, especially when played together in a platoon with minimum amount of teamwork, they can literally take shit on the battleships, but maybe they'll fix it, maybe they won't. So here's the end plate. Experience and credits are probably bound to change the amount you earn, so I'm not really gonna pay much attention, but my 12 of my torpedoes did hit and do the 126,000 damage, which is alright. Obviously I only had a good game because I found those 2 aircraft carriers. If they were on the other side of the map, I would have had the most boring game ever, but they weren't, so here we go. So my impression of this game so far is that it has an extreme amount of potential. I think there still need to be, some tweaking still needs to be done, but overall the game is a lot of fun to play. As I said, it is slower paced, so if you don't like that, you probably won't enjoy this game that much. But it does what it does really well. As I said, minor fixes to the smoke screens and maybe some balancing changes with the aircraft carriers, but otherwise the game is a lot of fun. There is quite a lot of skill involved in it as well, with aiming your shots properly with the battleships and aiming your torpedoes properly in the destroyers and knowing when to shoot them and when to not shoot them. So yeah, I've been definitely enjoying World of Warships, and I will be streaming, playing and making more videos of this game in the future, unless they screw something up really badly. But hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.